What's nice about the Future for Reach Out, it's all volunteer. We paid our own way for the trip. Everybody volunteers. Andreas volunteers his time, and every penny that you give or you've given or you are interested in participating goes to the project. It goes to the scholarship fund. It goes to this directly to the school, so not one penny lands. It covers any of our costs whatsoever. That I really, really liked. I used to manage nonprofit funds, and there was always that cut, 20% for administration, 15% for administration. So it's really encouraging to know that all the money goes directly for the programs. When they went to the school there about 3 to 5 years ago, and some people have heard me tell this story, and it's worth telling again, the school had no indoor plumbing whatsoever. No blackboards, no paper, no books, really nothing. And the teachers there are not only responsible for teaching, they're responsible for the maintenance of the school itself, the painting and everything. So they dug latrines in the back of the school. They're not sanitary engineers. That's the best they could do, and that's what they did. Well, over time, the water became contaminated, and the kids got hepatitis. So the first act at the big project that they picked to do was to put indoor plumbing in the school, which they've since done. Then they have the scholarship program that Sheila manages, which is pretty amazing. These kids, they're eligible to have the government pay for their education, but that's it. So that's really nice, but when these people don't have any money at all, telling you can go to college but you have to pay for your personal expenses isn't going to get them any faster. So for 50 euros or about $65 a month, it pays for their room and board, their school books, their transportation, their clothes, all their expenses and anything miscellaneous on a monthly basis, which is pretty impressive. We got to meet all the sponsors from the AWC members, and they are absolutely lovely, and I cannot tell you how appreciative they were of what AWC was doing. And I know for them we're just these entity out here, but it was just amazing. And they got their scholarship letters, and they got photographs of their sponsors and a letter, and it was being translated into German for them, and they were just really, really amazing. So that's what Sheila does. And fortunately, in that one instant that she asked the AWC for their support, five people stepped up, one being the AWC group as a whole, and 4 other members. And one member has chosen to support a student for the whole 4 or 5 year program that she wants to be a vet. So it's really the biggest bang for your buck that I've seen in some time. And then we also collected over 1,000 pencils, pens, scissors, needle, sewing kits, and gave them to the new principal of the school, Nikolai, and he didn't know what to do with them. He was just blown away because I looked in the classrooms, we visited the classrooms. Rarely would I see paper. If I did, it was just little bits of paper, occasionally a book, really not so great blackboards. So these kids really, it's going to be really impacting for them, so they really appreciate it.
I'm going to interrupt you real quick. Would they be interested in children's books? Because we are going through a transition with the library.
That's true. They do a convoy 3 times a year. A children's book.
In German?
Not in English.
In English?
Not so
Probably
much.
not so much, huh?
For other schools, not for
It's for German. Yeah, okay.
In this school, you know, they have other schools that learn English,
Yeah.
but in this school in Ritschow, it's
Deutsch.
German.
Okay,
But
German.
Olga could use that in her
In
classroom.
Okay,
Shitkovici, we can use
Yeah,
We'll
we could
talk
talk about
about
it. No, but that's a good point. They do.
In Shitkovici, we can use it.
We
Yeah,
can
and
use it in
Chikovici
both
is,
places.
They go on, there's 3 convoys a year that go and just bring just endless amounts of things to the families directly 3 times a year. So, and the cash donations, again, as you see, the 4 million rubles that we were able to purchase all the equipment. And you'll see some pictures. The pictures you'll see of the sports equipment is just a small bit. The floor had been finished. We didn't want to start messing around with the floor too much because it needed to be sanded and sealed. So we did bring some of it out, but you have the full list, so it's pretty impressive. And then we also, so when we were there, we were building the gym floor. Andreas, Klaus, Roland, and Martin did a phenomenal job. I was able to throw help for one day, but it was, you'll see the photos, they'd speak for themselves. We delivered the sports equipment and the supplies. We visited the scholarship students, which was great, and we visited an endless number of families in need. I honestly lost track. I really wanted to take pictures, but it wasn't as respectful as unless we asked them to take pictures. You don't want to say, I'm taking a picture because you're poor and I want to bring it back. You know, it just wasn't appropriate. We were able to take some photos, but it was much more impacting to meet the family. One time we just went and got $20 worth of groceries, which is a lot there, and brought them to some of the families in need. And then they would in turn give us something, and we're like, no, no. And the one woman chased us to a neighbor's house where we were our next visit and insisted we take the gifts of food that she had offered. So they're very, very, very proud people. So it was pretty impressive. Which brings me to the next project, is this kindergarten, which Marina she's the president of Ritschow in Belarus, and she's 27, and Hetty stayed with her grandmother and her lovely daughter, which grandmother cooked great. She was a fantastic cook. And it was just, she kept saying, she spoke English and Russian, but she didn't speak German. And she kept saying kindergarten, and for those of you who don't know, kindergarten is a German word. She kept trying to translate it in English and kept saying children garden. And she kept saying, what about the children garden, about the children garden? And I stopped correcting her because it was so darn endearing. And I just thought, I love that. That is great. I just thought that was great. And I had an opportunity to speak to her briefly last night. And she said, what about the children garden? I'm like, on the phone, I thought, I love you. She is one of the most.
And Marina's special vocabulary.
She has an amazing vocabulary. She does. Her English is very good. We can talk on the phone. I mean, I make sure I speak slowly, but it's still pieces missing. But she is, but not as bad as Hetty. When Hetty wanted a pain murderer, she asked me for it. She said, "Do you have a pain murderer?" I said, "Do you mean a painkiller?" She said, yes. So we had our own interesting roundabout of language issues the whole week. At any given time, English, Russian, Belarusian, and German were being spoken amongst the four of us. And at one time I said to Hetty, who is German and Austrian, I said, Hetty, your German is so good. She goes, I am German. That's right, it's Sheila that's not from Germany, but her German's really, you know. And, oh my God. It was just...